The first biker's voice cut through the late afternoon air like a blade. "Hey, lady, you lost?" The others laughed, circling closer. Their leather jackets caught the dying sunlight, their boots grinding gravel into dust. And in the center of it all stood a woman in a faded gray sweater, holding a single grocery bag, as if she had wandered into the wrong story, but she hadn't. They just didn't know who she was. Her face was calm, too calm, and in the eyes of the 5 men closing in, that calm looked like weakness. They were about to learn it was something else entirely. Her name was Maria Kane. To most who saw her, she was just another quiet woman from the outskirts of town. She worked part-time at a library, lived in a small rented house, and walked everywhere with that same slow, deliberate pace. But if you looked closer, if you saw the way she moved, the way she breathed, you'd know she was measuring everything. And everyone. Years ago, Maria had worn a different uniform. Not soft cotton, but heavy fabric reinforced for combat. Not carrying bread and apples, but carrying the lives of her unit in her hands. She had served 12 years as a close-quarters combat instructor for the military. The kind of training where mistakes didn't just hurt, they ended people. Her exit from service wasn't dramatic. No medals on a stage. No speeches. Just a quiet plane ride home after a final mission that cost her more than she could say. The night she returned, she walked into her mother's empty house, smelled the faint perfume on an old coat by the door, and realized she had missed her mother's final days while keeping strangers alive. That scent never left her memory. Maria learned that sometimes silence was the loudest choice you could make. And so, she kept her skills locked away like a weapon she never wanted to use again. Until now, the bikers didn't know any of this. They only saw a woman who didn't move when they jeered. She didn't flinch when one of them kicked at the dirt near her shoes. She simply shifted the grocery bag to her other hand, eyes steady, voice absent. A few onlookers from the diner patio watched. None spoke. This was the sort of trouble people told themselves to stay out of. "She's done for." Someone muttered. One of the bikers, taller than the rest, stepped forward, reaching for her arm. The moment his hand touched her sleeve, Maria's body moved like water breaking a dam. In less than a second, his wrist was twisted, his balance stolen, and his back hit the ground with a force that made the gravel spray. He didn't get up. The others froze for a beat, then rushed her. It was over before the dust settled. A sidestep, a precise strike to the sternum, a sweep that took 2 men down at once. One tried to grab her from behind, only to find himself sailing forward into the dirt, gasping for air. Each move was fluid, unhurried, and devastatingly precise. 5 bikers had surrounded a simple woman. Now, 5 bikers were groaning on the ground, their arrogance scattered with them. Maria didn't speak. She only picked up the grocery bag she'd set down, brushed a speck of dust from her sweater, and began to walk away. But before she crossed the street, she paused, just long enough to glance at the crowd that had watched in silence. One old man near the diner stood. He straightened, gave her a slow, deliberate nod, and said in a voice that carried, "Strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just acts." The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't need to. Respect, once broken, is rebuilt in silence. Maria disappeared down the street, her steps steady, her face unreadable. The bikers would heal. The story, though, would spread far beyond this small town. And somewhere, in a quiet kitchen that night, Maria placed her groceries down and stared at her reflection in the window. She hadn't wanted to fight, but sometimes dignity left you. No choice, because some battles choose you. The strongest person in the room, she thought, is usually the one who doesn't want to be here at all. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that real strength is quiet, but never weak. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And if you want more true stories of silent courage, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.